actually have a pretty long life story to begin with. I'm actually an adopted kid. I was actually an abandoned baby, and I was adopted by a Chinese family in PJ. Born and bred in PJ, and I actually did my studies from primary to my college and uni years all in KL. Started working when I was 15, purely because I was one of those kids that wanted to buy my own handphone at that point in time. So my parents brought me up in a way where things are supposed to be earned. So I have this mentality in me that if I want something, I'll go and find money to do it. So at 15, I worked at KFC, earning the menial like $3.50 per hour, after school hours, weekends, school holidays. And I guess that was my first step into the real world. And subsequently, I did a lot of part-time jobs throughout my college years. And my first entrepreneurial project, or rather venture, was actually to sell baked goods at MCOT Mall. Back in the days, MCOT Mall, Saturdays, Sundays, there'll be quite a thriving flea market, and I would actually take up the counter selling cookies and cakes that I bake on my own. So again, it was, I guess it's pretty much in me, where I felt that I wanted to earn more for myself and to innovate, at that even at that young age. And subsequently, I started my first full-time job when I was 19 in the retail industry under one of the optical brands, one of the biggest optical brands in Malaysia, for about 5 years under their business development. So I would say that would be a lot of my building blocks to who I am today. So that's where I learned about business, I learned about the retail world. As you know, Ultron is a retail brand. So a lot of my, like I said, building blocks and foundation was from that job. And after that, I did a couple of things, handling other brands, retail brands. I even worked under a subsidiary of Khazanah for a couple of years, doing a corporate partnership. So I would say all in all, throughout my entire working career, be it whether having a business of my own and also working for other people, has shaped me to who I am today when it comes to Ultron. Ultron started almost 2.5 years to date, and I started this brand somewhere in May 2015 when there was a little bit of a problem back home where my husband had some financial problems. So at that point of time, I had my own company doing consulting, corporate partnership consulting, and it was doing pretty well. But I was at the same time, I found out I was pregnant, so I was a bit worried that my daughter's future would be jeopardized because of financials. It boils down to a lot of stability in the future, education and stuff like that. So it was a point where I felt that I needed to step in, to help him and help the family. And that's where I got the idea of starting up a sportswear brand. But it did not just fall from the sky. Why a sportswear brand? Because generally I'm a very active person myself. I run in the gym every day, and I do yoga almost every day as well. So at that point of time, I was buying a lot of international brands and finding it really expensive. So I was feeling that, even with me having a well-paid corporate job at that point of time, even I felt the pinch buying international brands. What about, the bigger segment of consumers in Malaysia which earn a household income of probably less than 5,000? What are their options? What would they be able to afford? So, I did a lot of thinking, I did a lot of research, and I realized these people either did not have a comparable brand compared with the international brand, or they would just wear back when we were younger, those old t-shirts and those old free t-shirts that when you sweat and then when it gets old, just throw it away. So I realized that's a huge segment, or rather a huge untapped market in the industry for sportswear. And at the same time, my partner's family's forte was to manufacture sportswear. So basically, I think putting two and two together, everything fell into place, and I decided that, hey, I have the forte of retailing. My partner's family is into manufacturing, and there's a gap. So it's all laid out. So from one idea led to the other idea, and then the next thing it was just to start it like that. Yeah. So a lot of how I am as a person as well. When I notice something, I tend to think. I'm an analytical person. I think a lot, so I think and then come up with strategies in my head, and then when I'm so convinced myself, then that's where I start things. So that's in essence how Ultron actually started. Yeah. Begin with, I think a lot of media does coin this supermom term when it comes to me, but I generally feel that it's a little bit overused, because I feel that all moms are super moms. Because I always say that to me, the hardest job after becoming a mom, I felt that the hardest job was actually being a mom. So a lot of people would always come up to me and say that, hey, it's so good that now you're a super mom, you run a business and have a baby at the same time. But I always say that please don't think so highly about me, because all moms struggle the same. And where I'm trying to get at is that I struggle as a mom myself. So I guess there is no secret formula to managing work, business, and the household and the baby at the same time. I guess it's all about setting priorities straight. At the for the first 2 years, actually my daughter just turned 2 end of January last month, and for the first 2 years my daughter was completely attached to me, because I was still breastfeeding her, and she had really bad allergies, so she could not take any formula, she couldn't take any bottles, so she had to be directly breastfed by me. So that said, when I go to conferences in Bangkok, when I go to events, when I go to any of because Ultron is in 10 countries, so when I go for my business trip, she follows me wherever I go. Wow. So the only thing is, sometimes I do get looked at funny that, hey, you're in a business meeting, you're in a business, you're dealing with business, why do you bring your daughter in like a stroller? To me, I shut that all out. I don't care, because I felt that priority is still my daughter, but I still need to do this, I still need to do my business. So it's either you take it or leave it lah. So I have this hard-headedness in me that if I feel that this is important, you have to accept lah. Yeah. So I wouldn't say secret formula to juggling anything, but I just said just do it lah. Yeah. So that was what it is for me for the last 2 years. Right. I think besides the entrepreneurial world, I think even the sports industry. I've been to a couple of, initially when Ultron started, I was pregnant and all, I went to like press conferences, I went to give away mock checks to UKMFC and stuff like that. But it was always that people looked at me funny because number one, I was a woman, number two, I was also pregnant. So people have the general misconception that when they see you're a woman, and then moreover you're pregnant, they have this misconception that, oh, you are fragile, you are weak. So I always felt that if I let it get to my head, obviously it's going to affect what I can do and my performance. So I never let any of this affect me, and I would always want to break the stereotype, break the mold, because in the end of the day, that's where Ultron came from as well. Ultron's tagline is change the game. So to me, I feel that I myself as a CEO and founder, I need to embody this whole change the game, change the game, what's the motto? Yes. So that's my story. Yeah. From Avengers. No, just joking. It actually stands for Ultra Marathon. So Ultron, what I wanted to do was to signify that our products were good enough for the Ultra Marathon runners. And that said, today we are actually the title sponsor and a preferred apparel partner for MURA, which is MURA, stands for Malaysian Ultron Runners Association. And that said, we are also now the official partner, for international events like Xterra, Powerman, and Iron Man. So it was also a good thing that time when we launched Ultron, the movie Avengers, Age of Ultron was at the same time. So I found it really catchy because it was good strategy for me to launch a brand that was pretty similar to the movie. So people would always joke and question, and create conversation. So I felt, as lame as it can be, it worked. Yeah. I think two things to begin with. As you know, we've worked with Sukma. We've worked with the Malaysian Paralympic team that went to Rio about 2 years ago. Purely because I believe that being a Malaysian, rather the only Malaysian mass sportswear brand, Malaysian athletes should wear Malaysian sportswear when they go to the international arena to be patriotic towards their own brand. Number two, it's also a business strategy, to sponsor these athletes, because in the end of the day, they are going to be your influencers. And a lot of sponsorship that we do, we sponsor a lot of what they call mass events, especially marathons, runs, because each event we're talking about a number of like 2,000 to maybe even 8,000 people. And when we sponsor these events, these people, have a touch and feel of what Ultron Products is. See, I'm trying to break into the market. So in order for me to break into the market is to work with sporting events that, give out our tees to the runners. So when people have already sampled our tees during the runs, obviously people are going to take notice of us. So that's where this is one strategy, for us to penetrate the market. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's some little bites over there.
Yes, please.